Hello everyone, welcome back to Cheat Codes, and today I just wanted to make a video on my experience with game dev overall, not just specifically Unity, and what I think of it. So, there's a few things I want to talk about. It's not going to be too much, not too long. What I want to do is I want to show my main projects of just things. A lot of it is just tiny stuff, like this one I'll just show right now. It's very small. It was just me testing how on mouse over works, as in on mouse over, and you click to interact with stuff and counts up the wood. So it's just small stuff like this, and then bigger projects, and it is just my experience. Now there are some missing. I had one mobile game. Well, I have them on a hard drive as a backup. This was before I used GitHub. I use GitHub for everything now. There was a platformer that was an endless one, where you just jump upwards constantly, and it had a cool twist. And there was a just stand and survive as long as you can one. There's like enemies that spawn, you shoot them and stuff. Very simple. So this is just a quick video on my experience, what I've worked on, and what I'm doing now. Currently I am making a tower defense in 3D for a company, and secondly I'm working on a roguelike for myself, which I will show. I'm still really busy, there's still a lot more work to do, but this is the base template for the level design. It is going to be old concrete walls with fire braziers. Not all of them will be lit, only some will be lit. And it's going to be a very dark setting with fog. It's going to be like a horror FPS roguelike. I know it sounds weird, but I'll give updates on it. I've been dumping a lot of time into this on the 3D modeling. And this is how it looks so far. Still a lot of work to be done. All these branches are the same, but every fence has a different pattern of chunks cut out, which is all done by hand. Everything here is done by hand. No like special things used. And these are some of the tiles I'm using for my tower defense. I still need to do these. I need to fix this tree, make it a little bit better. Yeah, currently I'm learning 3D modeling. I'm working on a roguelike, and I'm working on the tower defense game, which will be procedurally generated. So I have a few things I'm working on. I'm very busy. Oh yeah, and I'm also working on my survival game. So yeah, I'm working on a lot of stuff. Very busy. Yeah, I just want to give a video on my experience, what I think. Is it hard? Is it easy? What's my advice? I've been coding since February, so 6 months ago. Around this time as well in February, so yeah, pretty much exactly half a year of experience. I've done some coding in the past, HTML at school. I tried Flutter. These are a few things I have tried. So I just wanted to give my experience, what I think, and some small bits of advice I have. Don't get too excited. These are not good. A lot of these are just tiny little projects, and I just want to show some of the stuff off. Yeah, the point a lot of these, and the point I want to make is, if you want to try something, try it. Don't be scared. I'll show you. Look, this is how many projects I've made, and all of them are a different mechanic I'm testing. So if you ever want to try to learn something, you ever want to use something you haven't used, just make a new project and try it. Don't be too scared. There's lots of tutorials. And yeah, so let's get into this. Obviously this first game, very simple, just a click on the trees. It was just a test because I was thinking about making a farming game. I was playing a lot of Stardew at the time. Anyways, moving on. I'm just going to close them as I go. This was another huge project, and I will get back to it in future. There's nothing much to show here, but the idea is really big. I have about a 14-minute voice recording of me just saying ideas. It is something I really want to make, but I still have to learn procedural generation a lot better, and I still need to learn shaders, a lot of graphical things. But it's going to be a game where you endlessly just drive forward, and there's going to be obstacles, going to be enemies, stuff in the way, and there's going to be shops you can stop at to buy stuff. As you can see, you can't go off the sides, and the camera also has a rotation limit to the right and left. So yeah, it's going to be this cool driving game, and you just drive infinitely in one direction and just see how far you can get. There's going to be a global leaderboard and stuff. Very ambitious, very big. But I was dedicated, I was going to do it. But when I saw with Generation how I'm not that good of it yet, yeah, I still have a lot to do, a lot to learn. Yeah, my advice is, if you're going to do a huge project, test it first. before you do anything. This was before I did any 3D modeling, anything. Test it. If you think the idea is too big or you don't understand it too well, leave it for now, as in this game. I just think it's too big for me right now, as in I don't understand the main mechanics of what I want to use. A lot of things I do understand, but I do not understand generation properly. So that's one bit of advice as well. Test something, leave it if you think it's too hard. Don't immediately start planning things, don't immediately start drawing things. Test the core mechanic of it first, and if you think, this isn't for me right now, I'll have to wait a bit longer till I'm better. That's my advice. I will tackle this after I finish my survival game and I finish the roguelike. Obviously, the tower defense is something I'm going to do because it's like a job. Yeah, after my 3 big projects I'm working on right now, that's another piece of advice. Have multiple things that are completely different, because you will get burnt out if you do a single thing constantly. You get really burnt out. There's another cool game I was going to make for 2D. It was going to be a game where obviously have things come in the dark, and you were going to have a cone of light and a ring of light to have, indication of where things are. There are going to be different upgrades. As you can see, I already made all the stats here and they work properly. The crit chance, crit damage will work. If I up my fire rate to 8, I shoot really fast. If I up my spread to 10, then I shoot very inaccurately. If I increase bullet speed, bullets shoot really fast. If I increase the cone size to, let's say, 24. Oh. Sorry, I forgot the cone is only something you can only get at the start. It wasn't updated properly. So yeah, you see cone is bigger. I can also make the circle bigger. Yeah, I was going to have this pretty cool game where you just sit in the middle, get upgrades, kill as many as you can, just survive as long as you can. Yeah. I don't know why I didn't really catch on to this. I think I got into 3D at the time, like Unity 3D. I haven't done a lot of 2D anymore, and when I got a bit better at 3D, it kind of caught me. I've been doing 3D for a while. That's what I've been caught on. And again, everything is a separate thing I'm trying to learn. This one was I was trying to see how hard it is to use sprite masks, and yeah, this is a game based on sprite masks, because things are dark and it reveals them. So again, test different things. This took me like literally an hour to slap together, not even, maybe half an hour. So yeah, just test small things and learn as you go. You keep getting better no matter what. And this was the first time I was trying a 2D survival game interaction, which, as you can see, I click, there's actually an invisible circle around right here that gets triggered. Like it draws a circle, and that circle then takes everything in it and interacts with it. And if the player flips, it doesn't flip properly, but the circle is still there. But I'll just stand on it here for this sake. I just made some key bindings to spawn stuff. And as you can see, I'm not clicking on the tree, just in the direction. It breaks it, and if I'm too far, it doesn't break the stone. If I'm close enough, it breaks the stone. So it was just a test to see how I would do a survival interaction of trees and stuff in 2D. Never use any of these systems again, but I will probably make a tutorial in the future on how to do stuff like this, because it is useful to have 2D interaction, and it's not similar to what other people have done, from what I've seen. I don't want to make any claims here saying I'm some amazing coder. I don't really know what I'm doing too often. Overall, I think I do. I think I've gotten really good, but there's still definitely methods of things that are better than what I do, and I still have to learn a bit more to understand those. Some of the stuff I'm working on right now, actually, I still do some tutorials for a lot of the complicated things, and I see things I've never used. So yeah, lesson here is I was trying to make a system of spawning trees and chopping down the trees. Went well, and it works. Now these two are for the end. I didn't actually mean to open these yet, so I'll close these down. Those are my 2 big projects. I'll actually close this one, it doesn't matter, it's just a fun one. This was me trying to make a game as fast as I could. I made this in 10 minutes. Obviously, it is Flappy Bird. So that's something else as well I think people should do. The actual core game was made in 10 minutes. The UI was not made in 10 minutes. The score of the 6, that was there, but yeah, the actual brown and stuff, that wasn't there in 10 minutes. 10 minutes, I just made green pipes, this, and yeah. So here the lesson is, I'd say, try do something quickly, see how good you've gotten. This was me maybe 3 months into coding, and I was like, I'm going to see how quickly I can make something, and this is what I made. So obviously it's just Flappy Bird, but yeah, what I'm trying to say is, go ahead, just throw yourself in, and see how quickly you can just slap something together. And well, that's that. Let's go on to the next one. Now this was a bigger project. I wanted to make an RTS, and I was just learning how I would do stuff like that. So I had these miners that were going to fuel. They're big ideas. I'm not going to talk about it right now. So I had this where I can place the factories in this zone. They have to be in the base zone to be placed. If you place them outside, they can't be placed, but they do still subtract the cost. So it didn't really work. And then I also had this. The game was going to be, you're going to be this base that moves around and collects stuff. I'll just leave it at that for now. But you can transform like this. Obviously it's not properly done, but very buggy. But yeah, I thought this was really cool at the time. This was my first big 2D animation, like sprite with a lot of things happening. And yeah, here the lesson is animation. Do challenge yourself with animation. It does help a lot. Once you do something big like this, you really do start to understand animating a bit better. And another lesson is learn UI a bit more, like how this works. It doesn't work properly. Just try learn things to do them properly. And yeah, there's not much to say here, just animating and UI. The two difficult things you should get better at to make a good game. Now this was, and here I made myself a bit stronger. I made the sword spin really fast. It was going to be my 2D roguelike. And as you can see, it spins really fast. Yeah, here comes some enemies. You can see them here on a big screen. They're zoomed out. And enemies coming in. Yeah, this is just going to be a roguelike. They don't face the player properly, so I have to come from the left. That's how they look. And it was going to be a very big game. I've actually made a lot of sprites. Let me put the wave on. Let's put the wave on wave 10. Let's say it's a bit late game. So you can see there's a lot coming. Probably my most successful thing here was the catapult. It actually stops when it's in range of the player and shoots a projectile that goes in a curve to the player's position. As you can see, here comes everything knocking me around. Yeah, so let's see the catapults in action. Here comes catapult. Oh, well, this I'm facing the wrong way. Okay, the problem is they get pushed by other things. But yeah, so how the catapult works, as you can see, the projectile shoots up and then lands where it should. So this was just going to be a very nice roguelike, and I just left it. I can't remember why. But yeah, lesson here is test new things. I was working with lists for the first time, with the enemy spawning. Work with systems you haven't used before, like I used the tile map editor for the first time. There's a lot I learned from this. And yeah, I'd say test some features that you don't think you would use normally. Like I didn't think I'd ever use the tile map stuff, like the painting of tiles, but once you learn it, it is actually very useful. So I'd say give it a go and see how things go. Here is Galactic Rogue, my mobile game, which still I have not updated, well, released this version of it to mobile. I've changed things a little bit. Oh, let me turn that down a bit. So yeah, here, this is the first game I made, and I made this in just after I started learning. Actually, I released the first version 2 weeks in, which was, I do actually have video footage of it, I'll show in a sec. Yeah, I released the first version of it on mobile, and it has come a long way. So lesson here is get something out there, because it does teach you a lot. once you start understanding publishing and stuff, and you just get a feel for things, and it also gives you a lot of motivation, being like, oh, people want to play. So that not a lot of people played, but family members really helped with like, oh yeah, you know, I like this, I like that. Yeah, I'd say get a game out there. Just keep making progress on, even if you take big breaks. I take weeks at a time from working on this, and then when I do work on, I implement some cool features and stuff. But yeah, lesson here is just get out there, get something out there, and just see how it goes. Doesn't matter if it's not successful, it's just about the learning experience. Because just learning something new is, well, successful. It helps you a lot. I'll show how the game looked when it released. So here we are with, sorry about the quality on this. Yeah, as you can see, oh yeah, it was actually end of February, so it was literally just a little bit after I started. This is the first game I made. This is the first version of Galactic Rogue, really old. Definitely come a long way. Yeah, as you can see, extremely simple. I just had a object in the background moving to the left, and the object that just gets spawned in a random position moving left, and the player can move up and down and shoot a bullet. So, yeah, very simple, and it's come a long way. So, if you want to do something, just get a game out there and work on it and see how it goes, because it does really help with both how you feel about yourself when it comes to your success, feeling like you've made progress. When I watch something like this and see how far I've come, it makes me really happy. So yeah, there's the advice there. Get something out there, see how it goes, and just give yourself a pat on the back when you do well. So here is my FPS. I might have to turn this down once I'm in. I'm not too sure. It might be a little bit loud. If it is, I apologize. I will turn it down immediately if it is, actually. Open volume mixer. Let's see, where is it? That's very strange. It's not showing up. That is very strange. Either way, very simple. Let me turn it down quickly. I just have to find where the volume is. I haven't worked on this for a long time. I'll quickly just pause the recording and do that. Okay, so I hope it's not too loud. Just a warning. I'm gonna play and shoot, and then if it sounds loud, turn down the video. I apologize. So yeah, this was my first FPS attempt. This was also my first, like third actual 3D game. Obviously used a lot of tutorials here. And again, a lot of it was done by myself. So a piece of advice I have here is try do things as well as you can on your own before you find a tutorial. Not always. I'm not saying every time you want to do something, challenge yourself and make it impossible. Smaller things like camera control, stuff like that, no. But I mean, if you're making something like AI or an enemy that has, you know, the weird stuff. Sorry, this camera pivot is very bad. I don't know what I was doing here beforehand. So yeah, my advice here is test things for yourself, see how they go. I'll put this one in full screen because it is an FPS. So you had an upgrade for your fire rate. This only worked for the second gun, so I made 2 guns. And these were done in Unity. These are not Blender models. I have not touched Blender till this time. Before this time. So as you can see, as enemies that move towards you, they do damage you. Top left is your health. You do have sounds. Shooting sounds with hit markers. Headshots work on these red things. I didn't implement headshots for anything else. So as you can see, I shoot the body. Oh, I apologize for the sound effects. I might just mute all of this in a second. So let me mute that. I apologize so much. I'm trying to talk and then that's what happens. So moving enemy, I'm just gonna mute this guy. There we go. Turn that off. Okay, so as you can see, you have this part. If I shoot this, there's a bit of health. If I shoot the head, though, there's a lot of health. So I did implement headshots and normal body shots. As you can see, I have some shooting. There was no aiming. I just decided I don't need to do that. It was just a test. Because one of my friends was like, oh, I want to make an FPS and I'd like to make it with you. And I just wanted to test how hard it would be. So most of this was made from scratch and some of it was searched up. first time using raycasts a lot, so there's multiple raycasts being used here. But yeah, listen here again, try learning stuff yourself, see how it goes, just have some fun, not worry too much about things. Yeah, obviously these upgrades work. Shoot really fast. I also forgot to show on Galactic Rogue, the mobile game I have published. There are upgrades in the menu, but in my other YouTube video talking about that game, it shows there are upgrades in the menu. A lot of upgrades. So here is my current massive project I'm working on. Well, one of them. I'm working on 3, obviously. This is a survival game I'm working on. It's third person. The camera is a lot like Valheim's, if you're familiar with Valheim. And yeah, so there's a lot of work to be done here. The camera is not where it should be just yet, and tool selection will be this wheelbar like this, which things still have to be changed. Let me actually show. So in the chat, and ignore this error is I installed the terrain tool, and that's where I left it, and since then it's made an error. So yeah, I'm still busy learning stuff. As you can see, when I select something, it says none. Harvest tree, which will be axe. Harvest ore, which is a pickaxe. Down is build. Bottom left is melee attack. Top left is shoot attack. So it was a selection of tools and stuff. Obviously UI isn't done yet. But yeah, so it has an inventory. This is very complicated. It used to have a hotbar, but obviously I changed it to this. And you can harvest the trees just by left clicking them. They drop the acorns and stuff. And you can harvest metal, which just right now pops back immediately, but I was going to be like a 10-minute time before ores respawn. Yeah, it uses a very complicated bunch of systems that I made self. A lot of complicated systems. I'm not trying to brag or something, but this was a very intense project that I still have a lot of time to do. There's a lot to do. Yeah, it's pretty good. You can craft. Obviously, you can press E to interact, and it actually shows what it is. So this thing is called Beta Workbench. So it shows press E to interact Beta Workbench. If it was another name, it would work as well. So as you can see, I click here, and it crafts an axe. Use this. All these things also have 3D models assigned to them. Kind of sad I didn't keep the hotbar so I could show that, but yeah. And obviously, if you walk out of range, you can't interact with it anymore. So, very big, ambitious project. A lot of things used here. Very complicated. I used scriptable objects for pretty much everything. A very nice system. I will make a tutorial in the short future on a inventory system. But yeah, because I really struggled to find a good inventory system tutorial. So, moral of the story, challenge yourself. Try to learn things on your own as much as you can. If you do struggle, search it up. Don't punish yourself now. Just if you just slightly think you can do something, give it a shot. Don't just immediately assume I'm not gonna. Give it a shot. See how you go, and see where it takes you. Secondly, try new things. Don't be too scared. Try a tool. Try the system. Try an import. Try something from the asset store. Don't be scared. Just try things. And another thing, don't get too upset with yourself if you lose motivation. It is a very difficult thing. I'd say the most difficult thing is discipline when it comes to programming, coding, making a game, anything, is trying to get yourself to do stuff and keep doing them. So yeah, that is my advice, is just be patient, don't get mad at yourself, and have multiple things to work on, because if you get a little fed up with one thing like this, I'm getting extremely fed up with these errors from the terrain tool and everything. I haven't used this before. It's very difficult to just understand something for the first time, but if you get annoyed, like I am right now, work on another project. Like I said, I'm currently making a roguelike, I'm currently making a tower defense, I'm currently making a survival game. So if something annoys me, I do something like, oh, I'm going to go 3D model. Oh, I'm going to work on this. Just keep yourself give yourself some options and things to work on so you don't get too burnt out. Another piece of advice is backups. Properly back up your projects. I don't know if I should show this, but yeah, properly back up your projects. As you can see, I've backups of everything in the survival game. If I make any change, I back it up. Make sure you do this, and make sure it's saved online, because you will really hate it if you lose a lot of progress on something or completely lose a project like I have in the past. So yeah, do I think it's hard? Do I think it's hard to get into? Do I think it's hard to understand? At the start, it's overwhelming. That is my opinion. At the start, it is overwhelming. That's all I have to say. Other than that, easy. As you go, you learn things, and it just becomes easier. Obviously, depending on what you're doing. If you're going to make some extremely complicated project, it gets hard. But overall, it's not too bad. Don't worry how you do things, just do them. If it works, it works. You can perfect your stuff, make it more efficient, make it more optimized over time. But for now, just get it out of the way, do it. If it works, it works. Leave it at that. That is my advice. Don't overthink things, and don't get too frustrated. And there are lots and lots of tutorials. You just have to find the right ones. And not everyone is a genius. Not everyone's right. They all learned it from someone else in the first place as well. So it's about what works for you. What I say doesn't matter. It is just advice. What someone else says doesn't matter. It's just advice. So if something works, you do it. If you enjoy it, you do it that way. And if you have no issues, like optimizations from how you do your things, let's say the game doesn't get bad performance because you have some weird reference script or something, it works. Don't get too stuck on if you're doing things the right way or not. Because again, this is a creative thing, and the only limits your imagination and how much you've learned. But yeah, just slowly make progress. Don't get upset at yourself because you can't do complicated things yet. Just keep going. It does get better and better. As you can see, my first game was a guy that moves up and down and shot to the right, things approaching him. That was it. And now I'm making games of extremely complicated inventory systems and a lot of complicated systems. Just the inventory itself uses these scripts, and they have a lot in them. So just keep going and give yourself a lot of leeway on how you feel about your progress. Anyways, hope you guys have a good one. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.